thank you. I had a thought. It's been bugging me for a little while.
Yeah?
And then it just became crystal clear.
Yeah?
When you mentioned about the butterflies and the grass and the glass and the feather, we've been manifesting things for quite a while now. And what happened is we put on expos around New Zealand. And one I really wanted to do was Wanaka. We've always been on really well there, and it's a beautiful place. We played. I expected it to be brilliant. I put everything perfectly in place. I was so excited. When I set up the night before, I had the music playing. I was just fizzing. Brilliant night's sleep, and it was a flop. It was the biggest flop we've ever done. It was amazing. So I'd like to know why.
Well, we want to call your attention to the part of it that wasn't a flop. All of that exhilaration and all of that happiness counts for something, you see. And what you are expressing to us is that in your vibration somewhere, you're putting a sort of contingency on it. I'm not doing this for the joy, I'm doing this for the outcome. I'm not doing this for the joy, I'm doing this for the outcome. I'm not doing this for the joy, I'm doing this for the outcome. And when you are only doing it for the joy, then the outcome must follow. Now, in some ways, you seem to be contradicting something that we know for sure. So let's chew on this just a little bit, because there has never been a contradiction in all that we've offered ever before. So let's see if there is one here.
Yeah.
You cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. And therefore it follows that you would have a happy ending to a happy journey. And if that didn't happen, then it wasn't as you were telling us that it was. Was there an edge about it? Was there a risk about it? Did you put yourself out there in a stronger way? Were you putting all of your eggs in one basket?
No. The rest of the expos were fantastic.
Then you have to find a way of explaining this to us. You can't leave it at odds with the laws of the universe.
That's what's bugged me. That's why I've been listening.
The only thing that can be is either your vibration is not being offered as you think it is, or your desire is different than you think it is, because things are always working out for you. It's a good question. A lot of people want to know the answer to this. Give it to us.
I don't know. I went over it over and over again, and there wasn't one particular time I ever doubted that expo. In fact, I did a lot of cycling up in the hills and the mountains before.
How do you feel about it now? Do you doubt it now?
I'm just curious.
We ask you a very direct question.
Yeah, I suppose I do, really, because that sort of rocked me.
Yeah.
It did. It rocked me because...
And so that one experience can bring that doubt to you?
Yeah.
So you're getting your trust and your belief from manifestations?
Well, that one was the most powerfulest thing I'd ever done, because I look back on every step of the way, the moment I planned it, the moment I hired the venue, the moment I put the advertising in place, I was fizzing. I thought, this is going to rock, because we've always rocked there
So
before.
it sounds like there was quite a bit of action involved.
Yeah.
Were you believing more in your action than you were in your vibration?
It's just something that we've always done. And with everything that I plan, I truly believe it, and I'm excited about it. And some work out better than others, but most of them are pretty damn good. But this one was the worst of the lot, and it was the most excited I've been about anything.
We'll help you get to the understanding of this. There is no bottom. We'll help you come to the understanding of this, but these are some things we want to call to your attention. This conversation here and now is practicing a vibration that is not serving you. And we certainly do understand why you want to understand something. That's what we're here all about. We always say there is nothing off limits here. There is not anything that we are not willing to discuss with you. We are not trying to hold you to specific ways of looking at things. We want you to understand the life that you're living. And so nothing is going wrong whatsoever in this conversation, and we're not wanting to guide your thoughts or words about this. But we do want to point out that every word you speak about something that didn't turn out the way you wanted it to be is practicing a vibration that is taking you further and further from that satisfaction that we're talking about. And that momentum of resistance becomes something, a stumbling block along your path of least resistance. And the thing that we know that you can't quite feel is that those stumbling blocks were there before that happened. They're not just there after that happened. That defies the laws of the universe. So after it manifested, then it's easy to see. But before it happened, you were not feeling the subtle nuances. And so we can begin by saying that you were doing what a lot of people do. You were counting more on your behavior and your action than you were on your envisioning, on your imagination, on your feeling of it. And sometimes the harder you work to make sure something is going to work out, that's an indicator that you're not trusting that it is going to work out. So we better give it everything we've got. We better hire the biggest band and get the biggest place, believing in our action, believing in our ads, believing in our...
I trusted everything. I never tried too hard. We just said it's going to work out fantastic.
But here's the thing that we've just got to say to you.
Yeah.
You have to accept that it's not as you're telling us it was, or it wouldn't have turned out the way that it did. And until you're willing to accept that, then you can't let the answer to your question in. It's like you're saying, why? Nope, that's not the reason. Why? I need to know why. Nope, that wasn't it. Why? Why? Nope, that wasn't it. Well, we're not too interested in you knowing why. We just want you to not do it again. But every time you tell the story, you're doing it.
Yeah. Well, that just came to me as I was sitting down. It's something that actually...
So, what was this event?
We do back pain expos. We stretch people, hang them upside down and fix their backs.
All right. So... All good. Tell us more about the event.
Yeah, we hire a venue, we advertise, and people with bad backs come along and we sort them out. And it helps people.
And this particular venue was good because?
We'd always done very, very well there. We did an agricultural show for years there, and it was always too busy, and a lot of people couldn't try and experience the sensation. So this time we hired a venue.
Meaning?
We hired a big community hall there, and what happened is we put the advertisement in place just like we normally do, and we got basically very little response, whereas everything else around there had done really well.
So you hired a big hall. Was it off the beaten path a bit?
No, right in the middle of town.
Right in the center of everything. And so you did everything that you could think of doing. Sometimes people will sit in the hot seat and they will say to us, I have this really, really big dream. And we want to point out to them that sometimes the bigness of the dream, the bigger they feel that it is, the harder they feel it is. It's not this simple thing. It's not this, yeah, I want this and it will come. It's this big dream, and it's got a lot riding on it, and therefore we're putting a lot into it. It's sort of getting your business a little bigger than your business just a little bit. So what would you do differently next time?
Advertise in different papers.
Say again?
Advertise in different papers.
See what you said? I would take different action.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep telling the same story, but I'm going to take different action and get the same crappy results. And then next time I'll take out a bigger advertisement. It's a vibrational world that you live in. You'll hear more as we are moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for... So what are you feeling about this now? In other words, we want to talk to all of you about what you're feeling about this, because you're speaking to what so many are feeling. I want this and it isn't coming, or I wanted this and it didn't come. And what we want you to realize is that in every experience of not having the manifestation that you want, it's those manifestations of knowing what you really don't want that launch the biggest rockets of what you do want. So having had that experience, you launched a very large rocket, larger than ever before. But you're not moving in the direction of the new intention while you tell the story of the old. That's the most significant thing to know about this. But then human nature says, but you've got to explain this to me. You've got to help me justify why this thing I did not want happened. And we say, but can you feel the sacrifice that you're making? Can you feel the sacrifice that you're asking us to make with you? Please explain to you why something didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. And we say, why would you want to spend 1 minute on that? And then as a human you say, because if we do not understand our mistakes, we are sure to repeat them. We say, it's the other way around. The more time you try to spend figuring out what went wrong, then the more you hold yourself. Much of the world is still doing that. The leading edge thinkers are over here in the vortex receiving the inspiration of the new desire. And it's different from the perspective that most people have. There are people even here today thinking, well, if we don't know what our problems are, we cannot find solutions. And we say, you're partly right. Your problems have created new solutions, and your questions certainly have created new answers. And situations that you don't want certainly have set up situations that you do want. But you've got to move in the direction of what you do want. That's what this entire conversation on this voyage is really all about, is how can I move in the direction of what I am asking for?
How do I find out what I want? I've known for all my life what I wanted, and I've moved in those directions. Now I've got to a stage where I don't know what I want. How do I find out?
Well, let's go back to a more general place, because we understand what you're saying. I don't know how to get what I want, and therefore I don't really know what I want. We'll just ask you some questions. Do you prefer clarity or confusion?
Clarity.
Then you know what you want. Do you prefer vitality or lethargy?
Vitality.
Then you know what you want. Do you prefer to feel love in your heart or hate?
Love.
Then you know what you want. And you know, everything, every manifestation that everyone wants, no matter what it is, whether it's a relationship or a material object or a pile of money, everything that everybody wants or ever has wanted or ever will want is because they want to feel good. They want to feel good. You know that you want to feel good, and we want you to know. We want you to know that satisfaction or feeling good comes from one place and one place only. It comes from having an intention and moving in the direction of it, period. And it doesn't matter how grand the intention is or how subtle and small the intention is. Moving in the direction of it is where satisfaction is. So you want satisfaction, and then you want consistent satisfaction. You want managed satisfaction. You want to control your satisfaction. You want to manage and control your vibrational atmosphere. And then you want to witness, you want to consciously be aware of manifestations that match. So when wonderful things happen, you can say, I did that. And when something not so wonderful happens, you say, I did that. And so from this conversation, you can say at least, I had some vibrations going on that I wasn't aware of, and even to this day don't recognize that fully. So I've got this sort of mismatch of how something turned out, but I'm willing to accept. Now these are just words, but we're going to speak them anyway. Life is showing them to you, but we're going to speak them to you anyway. There are two ways to know how you're doing vibrationally in a relationship with your inner being, in a relationship with your vortex, in relationship with all the things you want. There are two ways to know how you're doing. How you feel in any moment is an indication, and how it turns out.
Well, when you asked me about what I wanted, and you started, do you prefer love, etc., and it just, a beautiful calmness came over me.
Yeah.
And it was...
So you're right there. So now that you're in that receptive mode, and you are, relative to your business, what do you want?
I want out of it. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I truly want out of it. Yeah.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Yeah. this is a really good time for a segment of refreshment.